Ladies and gentlemen, it is finally time for the first monthly special of 2026. Welcome to Ignition. It is I, Tapey Styles, calling the action right down the middle, flying solo as always. And we have 4 championships up for grabs here tonight, including our main event of the evening, a KPW World Heavyweight Championship match, as Pando, the Siberian Silver Bear, our reigning defending World Heavyweight Champion, goes one-on-one against one of the most dangerous men in KPW history, the King of Stego Style. We're of course talking about Cory Sinclair. But also still to come, one of the most heated rivalries in KPW history, looking to come to a head once and for all. And one of the rarest stipulations in KPW history, the submission match. The star attraction, Pierre goes one-on-one against the director, the sick, the deranged, Steven Gielberg. Those two personalities are bound to clash in one of the most brutal matches of KPW's short but very illustrious history. And speaking of two parties that have quite a storied history here, can't go without mentioning these two tag teams, the BamBus, quite possibly the breakout tag team of 2025. Bam Dardino, Ricky Rhombus are reigning defending KPW Tag Team Champions. They'll be going up against former two-time KPW Tag Team Champions, the breakout tag team of 2024, David Rush, Hollywood Hannon, the Boise Boyz, as they aim to score the hat trick here tonight. Also to come, the KPW American Championship will be up for grabs as well. Papyrus, the 400-pound monster from Manchester, will be going up against the Scrapyard Saint solo in another Bunker Hill Parliament affair. But what's also still to come here tonight, our 4th and final championship bout to be mentioned this evening, the KPW Twitch Championship, as the role model Tape goes up against the mysterious, effervescent KPW Twitch champion, the masked Rey Ilusion, in his 2nd ever Twitch Championship defense. But to kick off tonight with a bang, 4 corners, the World Heavyweight Championship contender, one of the most anticipated bouts of the evening. 2 members of Parliament, 2 principal members of Parliament, Oliver English, Hosway, will be joined by Greek Machismo, Nick Flawless, and the Street Fighter himself, the de facto leader of Bunker Hill, Popcorn Papi. Without any more hesitation, let's get right down to ringside and let's get right into the action. And the bravery on display here, Nick Flawless, he is in quite a compromising position going into this 4 corners bout. He has no backup inside or outside the match. He is a lone wolf. He is quite possibly a dark horse for this bout. While Oliver English, Hosway, and Popcorn Papi focus on each other. he could slip out with the victory in a KPW World Heavyweight Championship bout entitled to him some point next month. Nick Flawless has had the upper hand on this man, as well as Oliver English. But with their combined efforts, if they are truly on the same page, if they are moving on the same wavelength, Oliver English and Hosway, they could whittle the competition down to just the two of them. Because remember, folks, 4 corners is elimination rules. It is not one fall to a finish. There will only be one man standing at the end of this bout, and there will only be one man getting a world title shot at our next monthly special event, Destiny, coming to you on February 28th. Oliver English, he's received 2 world title shots in the past 6 months. He could make it a 3rd if he emerges victorious here tonight. But sometimes it's not about the size of the dog in the fight, it's all about the size of the fight in the dog. And this man's gonna have to fight rapidly for his dreams to be woven together here tonight. Popcorn Papi rounds out this fatal 4. And he marches to the beat of his own drum. He marches with absolute confidence. He marches with conviction. But he still has a 25% chance of walking away the winner here tonight. Nick Flawless working down Hosway. Oliver English turning his attention to Popcorn Papi, the man responsible more than anybody else of holding him back from the great vision, his long desired master plan to get the World Heavyweight Championship back around his waist, back to what he perceives as KPW's former glory. A forearm into the back of Popcorn Papi, courtesy of Oliver English. Hosway joining in. This very well could be every man for himself, and I think we're starting to see that already seep through. One has to question if Oliver English would make the same move on Hosway. After all, he's spent so much time, so much investing into the secret weapon, as he likes to proclaim Hosway. And this secret weapon, it may very well be completely out of the control of the Monarch here tonight. Oliver English introducing a table to this bout. Disqualification rules are not in effect for a 4 corners bout, ladies and gentlemen. Anything goes as long as there's a pinfall, as long as there's a submission. That is the only thing that matters at the end of the night. More tandem offense at the expense of the Monarch. And Hosway looking to make another move on Oliver. It appears during the crossfire as trays rip apart inside the Kumite Forum here tonight. It appears that Popcorn Papi has been busted wide open. He is wearing that proverbial crimson mask. This will certainly put the endurance, the will, the wherewithal of Popcorn Papi to the ultimate test. And I believe that was Nick Flawless that caught him right above the eyebrow, lacerating the face of Popcorn Papi with a well-placed, well-educated strike. Bunker Hill already has their hands tied here. Later on tonight, we'll be seeing the Scrapyard Saint solo challenge Papyrus, representing Parliament over the KPW American Championship here, folks. Popcorn Papi looking to go for a pump handle slam onto Hosway. Cover. 1, 2. And Hosway gets out at 2. Popcorn Papi, with every good intent in the world, he had every right to try and put Hosway down as quickly as possible. The storied history between these two men, a former student mentor pairing here. A superplex through the table. Parliament is having one hell of a rough night already, and we haven't even decided a winner. Oliver English going toe-to-toe with Nick Flawless here. Popcorn Papi re-entering the ring. Oliver English had his guard down just long enough for Popcorn Papi to slip back in under that bottom rope, sneak up behind him, use some guerrilla tactics, and cinch in that sleeper hold. Also, he was able to break him free. Parliament briefly using that numbers advantage that they have in this bout here. Lateral press by Popcorn Papi, another 2-count kick out courtesy of Hosway. Sleeper hold from Popcorn Papi to Nick Flawless. Popcorn Papi trying his best to neutralize the Monarch. Hosway, springboard moonsault. Oliver English following it up with a springboard leg drop to the back of the head of Nick Flawless. That has to be weighing heavy on the mind of the Monarch here, folks. Slipping in all these pot shots. Striking while the iron is hot, per se. Oliver English caught him that time. Hosway counters into a reverse armbar, a Fujiwara armbar.
1, 2.
And for the most part, Oliver English, he has not laid a hand on Hosway. He realizes how important Hosway is to his ultimate goal here tonight. He looks at this man as nothing more than just a pawn in a larger game here. And it is ultimately up to Oliver English. Have to make that decision to try and cut him loose. Waistlock reversal from Oliver English. Nick Flawless fights his way free, and now he's taking a fight to both members of Parliament. Arm elbow tie up from the Hosway. Nick Flawless taking it off his vertical base with that vicious European uppercut. And think of the golden opportunity that Popcorn Papi has here. He's been on that hunt to get a world title shot for the first time in his career for months here. He also has the chance to emerge victorious at the expense of 2 principal members of parliament in one fell swoop. This would be an amazing way for him to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. But he still has Greek Machismo, Nick Flawless, a true wild card in this situation to worry about. Hosway taking the fight right to Nick Flawless. Think of the numbers game Parliament would truly have if they could get rid of just one of these 2 opposing members here of this bout. Turning back the clock. Hosway go for the pin on Oliver English. Oh my God. Hosway providing the assist to Popcorn Papi. The assist pile driver coming into play. And Oliver English, he can't believe it. There goes the opportunity for the Monarch here. And this goes back to what Cory's been saying all those weeks about Hosway, about how he's been pitching in for Parliament, how he's been carrying the workload harder than anybody else. Reality is gonna bite hard for Oliver English if Hosway is the man that earns that #1 contendership spot here tonight. Total high-low action here from Popcorn Papi and Hosway here. And that tandem offense has just eliminated another competitor from this bout. And just like that, we are down to 2. Popcorn Papi trying to move quick, trying to drill the knee in to the chest of Hosway. Doing everything in his power, everything in his wherewithal to keep fighting to stay alive here. Hosway has been responsible for 2 eliminations here. He got all the credit for getting rid of Oliver English, for getting rid of Nick Flawless. The last time we saw these 2 by themselves inside a ring, it was back at Vendetta in July. These 2 waged one hell of a war against one another for the KPW Twitch Championship at that point in time in a ladder match. Hosway picking out his spots very carefully, picking out his moments to strike. Irish whip, but Hosway hangs onto the ropes. He hangs on a little bit too long as Popcorn Papi moves in to close the gap with that forearm strike. Exchange of blows between the former student mentor pairing here in the ring here tonight. Popcorn Papi, he's all fired up, he's all amped up, he's ready to go here, folks. And he is fighting like hell for his dreams here, and he's not gonna let Hosway take it away from him that easily. But Hosway, he is very much living up to that name, the secret weapon. He's living up to it in spades here tonight.
1, 2.
If he could clean sweep and eliminate Popcorn Papi here, think of the message that sends to the rest of the locker room. Think of the message that relays to the two men in our main event of the evening here tonight, folks. Pando, Cory Sinclair, one of those two men are going to be walking out of this building, a new world heavyweight champion, potentially retaining the world heavyweight championship. What a night of uncertainty here tonight at Ignition. Popcorn Papi scaling to the top rope, looking for that knee once again, and nobody home. Hosway's got that aerial offense scouted quite well here. Hosway catches the leg, transitions it into a Romero stretch. But Popcorn Papi, he's right there at the ropes. He's not going to quit so easily. The resilience on display for Popcorn Papi. He's been through it all here in KPW, folks. We've seen him in ladder matches. We've seen him in barbed wire brawls. This man launched the KPW hardcore division when it was once a thing. If anybody has the skill set to take the fight the Hosway, it is certainly the man that has trained him. He may have trained him a lot, but tonight will prove if he trained him everything. Third time's a charm on that knee strike. Irish whip. Spine on the pine. Popcorn Papi looking to put the exclamation point on this bout here. Pump handle slam. And Popcorn Papi has a ticket to destiny. This man has successfully killed two birds with one stone here tonight. He has emerged victorious at the expense of two parliament members. And on top of all that, he now has a thing he's fought for months at in the palm of his hands. What the hell is this?
Stupid, selfish son of a bitch. How many times do I have to get it through your dense fucking skull that this is my plan? This is my conquest, not yours.
It's 4 corners. There was my chance to talk.
Got one hell of an altercation in the ring here. Oliver English.
I brought you in to help me get the world title, and you fucking pinned me. You're a useless fucking swine, Hosway. That whore doesn't need to supervise you any longer because...
Don't you call Tori that ever again, you son of fool.
Oliver English! Frustration's boiling over! Laying his hands on Hosway here! And Hosway's fighting back! He's not gonna take the months, the weeks of abuse any longer! He was fighting for his future here tonight, and he's fighting like hell to protect his future. Oliver English tried to make it personal, tried to undermine Hosway at every step of the way. Try to even present the idea that Hosway could be subservient to Tori. We know how Oliver English truly feels about her at this point. And Hosway, he is just letting loose here tonight. He is letting the Monarch know who his daddy is. And Oliver English raking the eyes of Hosway, doing whatever he can to level the playing field to keep Hosway under his thumb. But I think Hosway, he's had enough. Parliament is imploding in front of our very eyes. Hosway ricocheting Oliver English back in from the ropes here. Angel dust on the Monarch. Standing up to him. He's tossing some steel chairs into the ring here. And I think he's doing this as a labor of love. Standing up for Tori here. He can handle and take on so much abuse after all that time. But Hosway truly snapped. Once Tori's name was uttered from the mouth of the Monarch here. And he's wailing away on the Monarch with that steel chair. Angel dust on the chair. And look, and you can see up in the aisleway the look at the grin creeping across the face of Popcorn Papi. I think we just saw Parliament implode in front of our very eyes here tonight. There's gonna be a whole heap of hell awaiting Hosway this Monday night if he even decides to show his face on Monday night. What an insane chain of events here tonight, folks. And this is just the start. Popcorn Papi punching in his ticket. He's got a World Heavyweight Championship match awaiting him at Destiny. And Hosway seems like he is breaking free from Parliament here tonight. How is that going to play in the mind of the American champion Papyrus later on tonight? But coming up next, the Twitch Championship will be up for grabs as Tape challenges Rey Ilusion for the KPW Twitch Championship. It will be Ilusion's second ever defense of the title. He bested the sauce. He's bested some of KPW's best. He's been undefeated in his time here. But if there's any man with the experience to put that to the test, surely the role model will have a way of changing the course of history here tonight. What an explosive start to Ignition here tonight, folks. And we still have 4 championship matches on the card. This is our first of 4 championships up for grabs as the Twitch champion, the mysterious, as apropos, elusive Rey Ilusion marches down to ringside. This could be the night where all the momentum, all the cards that have been stacked in the favor of the champion, this big house of cards, it could come crumbling down at a moment's notice. If anybody knows about holding on to the championship gold, look no further. Tape, one half of the longest reigning tag team champions in KPW history. That oddball pairing between him and Bob dominated the first half of 2025. He has the ability to hold a vice grip on the Twitch division at the snap of a finger. Rey Ilusion is going to have to play his hand very carefully here. Ilusion pushing Tate back towards the corner with some offensive maneuvers. An Irish whip into the corner. Tate takes him down with a quick jab to the chest. Shotgun drop kick from the Twitch champion. Power slam by the Twitch champion. He's taking the fight to Kabuki. He's taking the fight to the sauce. We saw him defeat the KPW American champion Papyrus last Monday night on Warzone. Big leaping clothesline from Rey Ilusion, the Twitch champion. Drop down, looking for a shotgun drop kick. Tape stays on his feet, however. The action spills to the outside.
3.
Big head full of steam on that clothesline cover. And Tate pots the shoulder up immediately. Another shotgun drop kick from Rey Ilusion. We've seen how hesitant he is to ascend from high planes here in KPW. I've never seen anything like it. A luchador that has so overtly been afraid of heights. But we've seen that slight bit of hesitation create some massive openings for his opponents over the course of the past 2 months. But as the weeks begin to progress further and further, however, we've noticed that Rey Ilusion, he is starting to warm up to the idea of using aerial offense.
Break.
Even if he is not outright comfortable with it yet, I think he sees the value in expanding that repertoire, expanding that skill set. Because he's in the ring here tonight against a 5-tool player. Ilusion following up the elbow drop, hooking the leg, but Tate was at the ropes. It forces the rope break. Tate knocks Ilusion off the apron, sends him careening into that barricade.
5, 6,
Ilusion swipes the legs of Tate and starts choking the life out of him.
10, 12. 13.
One of the dirtiest players in the game. Game 4 against a champion forced to get creative here tonight. Another shotgun drop kick, trying to create some space here. Tape running right into a sleeper hold. And that was a bad call from Tape, trying to slip out of the hold by reaching downwards. Ilusion adapting to the situation, lowering himself to stay level with Tape to keep the sleeper hold applied. And there he goes, going right back to that choke here. I don't think Rey Ilusion pays any mind to the Kumite faithful here tonight, whether they approve of his tactics or not. He knows exactly that he has to pull every stop that he can in this fight here. Tiger bomb on Tape, cover. And this match continues. Running leg drop onto the back of Tape, hooking the leg once again, going for another cover, and Tape kicks out once again. And look at the distance. Rey Ilusion got on that backdrop driver, sending Tape damn near halfway across the ring with that one. And what a high angle impact that we saw, folding up the neck and shoulders of the challenger. Dragon screw from the top. And that could be an ugly position for the challenger. That could really do some damage to the ligaments in the legs of Tape. Quick arm drag from Tape. He's trying to outpace and outmaneuver the Twitch champion, but it's taken a little bit more out of him to do it this time. Rey Ilusion in control. That's 3 corners going for that headbutt. Looking to go 4 for 4 here. And Tape puts his guard up for once. Tape gets sent tumbling over the top rope, down to the floor. And Rey Ilusion slips underneath the bottom rope here. Oklahoma slam.
9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Picking up Tape from that supine position, ramming his head into the ring apron. He's not gonna try and go up top. There was no way he was thinking about that. He realized at the very last moment what he was fired up, amped up to do. And that's that hesitation coming into full display here, coming at the expense of the Twitch champion. And now it is Tape using some aerial offense.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Now Tape looking to do some serious damage on the outside with that Romero stretch.
50.
Rey Ilusion pulling Tape's legs out from underneath him. Turning off his celebration, his hot dogging, his grandstanding a bit early. Tape might be celebrating a bit prematurely here to try and go for this on the champion here. And a low blow from Rey Ilusion. Capture suplex. And he's favoring that leg pretty badly here, but he was able to limp his way towards the cover. Didn't have enough body weight to shift into place to get the most out of that lateral press here. Power slam, doing whatever he can to limit his movement. And I think it's starting to set in for the Twitch champion. He's gonna have to do everything in his power to try and limit his movements, to try and limit the opportunities that Tape has to take advantage of those legs. Specifically the left leg. Tape with a spin kick to the legs of Rey Ilusion, knocking him into the turnbuckles as Ilusion tries desperately to stay alive here. He's going up top here. Diving headbutt, but the bad leg gave out. And he actually went for some aerial offense there. I can't believe it. He's trying to go for it again here. And Tape moves out of the way this time. And just like that, the momentum has shifted back in the favor of the challenger. Or did it? A low blow onto Tape. A shotgun drop kick to follow it up. This could be it. And Tape stays in the fight. He stays alive for just a little bit longer. Ilusion favoring that leg. Tape using it to cinch in the small package. A count of one. And Ilusion, he needs any moment of reprieve that he can find. He needs to rest. He needs to recuperate. He's got to account for a bad leg here. He is a one-legged champion in an ass-kicking contest here, folks. And he's still falling back on that shotgun drop kick. Who knows how much he's actually going to get out of it at this point. Tries to go for the flying lariat. Tape tries to capitalize on it with a diving fist drop.
1, 2, 3.
What the hell is he thinking?
5.
The Twitch champion looking to dive on the outside. That's why they call it high risk, high reward here, folks.
11.
Ape was able to side swipe
13.
that crossbody down to the floor. Nobody home.
15.
But with the damage that is accumulating for both of these men, the pain, the endurance being put to the ultimate test here, they are showing to the world how badly they want to be the Twitch champion. For Tape, it would be his first singles championship in KPW. For Rey Ilusion, it means continuing his undefeated streak. And a low blow from the Twitch champion. Inside cradle. This could be it. And Tape stays alive once again here. It's going to take a lot more than shortcuts to overcome this challenge for the Twitch championship. Rey Ilusion favoring the bad leg. Who knows what shape he's gonna be in once the adrenaline wears off here. Reverse DDT from the second rope here. Using that neck cinched in from Tape to guide his landing. Another dragon screw from the top rope. Tape gets sent tumbling towards the center of the ring. And Rey Ilusion has the right idea, trying to cinch it a Boston Crab. Tape saw it coming, however. Another low blow from the Twitch champion. Arm elbow tie up. Irish whip into the corner. Inside package. Cover. This could be it. And Rey Ilusion steals this bout away from the role model. He is still the Twitch champion. All it took was one crucial moment where Tape's guard was lowered. Not exactly at the right spot, but it had to be at the right time. At an opportunity that Tape had the least opportunities to expect it, the lowest chance to counter it. We saw these two pull all the stops here tonight. We saw Rey Ilusion make some personal strides here in that ring and more comfortable with aerial offense. We've seen him attempt 2 headbutts from the top rope. No success on either of those attempts. But it is clear that the Twitch Championship is pushing him to be a better and stronger combatant here in KPW. Congratulations to Rey Ilusion for another successful Twitch Championship defense. And coming up next here, folks, the KPW American Championship is up for grabs. A David versus Goliath bout as the 400-pound monster from Manchester, Papyrus, defends the gold against Bunker Hill's Solo. Parliament, who knows what kind of state it's in after what we saw earlier on tonight. Hosway breaking free of those Parliament shackles, choosing his own future over the good of one man, of one selfish man in the Monarch Oliver English. Who knows where the loyalty of Tori is gonna lie? Who knows how Papyrus and Kruger are gonna feel about this? The preparation that this man has had to go through as the KPW American Champion. He could be the first man to successfully defend the American Championship here tonight. We saw the Hardcore Championship retired in November under the reign of Bob. He was awarded the KPW American Championship to not leave him empty-handed. He would go on to defend that championship 2 weeks later and lose it to the heartthrob Popo, representing Bunker Hill. And then at Toxicity, our current champion, the big 400-pound Papyrus, snatches the gold away from Bunker Hill in what could be one of Parliament's greatest victories in the overall war. But now Solo, he has a golden opportunity. He has never challenged for any championship before here in KPW. He's yet to feel and get a taste of that golden success. as a singles competitor. He's been a tag team champion before with the Pitbull K-Dog. Well, as we saw last week on Warzone, Popo electing and acquiescing to Popcorn Papi, allowing Solo this opportunity. If it's chopped, Solo trying to pick up the 400-pounder, and he scoops that slam. Knife edge chop blocked by the 400-pound Papyrus. What we saw here earlier tonight at Ignition, that could be a major setback for Parliament. But if Papyrus loses this American Championship, the last true bargaining chip, the last piece of power that Parliament truly holds here in KPW, this could be a real knockout blow for them here. And this is the part that I don't even think Bunker Hill was expecting. They did not expect Hosway to go rogue earlier on tonight and not just eliminate Oliver English from the four corners bout himself, but to provide the assist for Popcorn Papi. And then when Oliver English tried to unleash his frustrations and physically abuse the secret weapon in Hosway, Hosway fights and takes a stand for himself, takes a stand for Tori. Who knows how she's gonna feel about this? We'll be looking to hear from Hosway on Monday night, hoping to get some sort of explanation behind all of this. Solo, Papyrus staring each other down. Man to man, mano a mano, toe to toe. Not quite eye to eye. Papyrus with a sizable advantage, not just in weight, but in height. Coming in tonight, 6'8", 400 pounds on the dot. Solo, nearly a foot lesser in height. He's coming into this bout at about 265 pounds. The heaviest man in Parliament, sans Popcorn Papi. But he is certainly one of the most agile men here in KPW, let alone Bunker Hill. He's one of the best strikers that we've seen in KPW. Another death-defying scoop slam on the 400-pounder. And Papyrus, he's gonna have to fight like hell to keep that championship intact, to keep any sort of leverage he has intact here. Small package. Saw that. Keep one championship reign alive here tonight. It could have ended another one. Back to back here. Back suplex onto Papyrus. Solo. Hurricane Rana. Hook in the legs. And Papyrus breaks free. And what a close call that was. Seeing Papyrus almost lose the KPW Twitch the American Championship just like that. And the Kumite faithful here tonight, they're in an absolute frenzy here. They are being pushed harder and farther than they have ever been pushed here before. Back body drop from Papyrus. With the velocity he launched Solo. He damn near could have cleared over that top rope. You know how disastrous it could have been if Solo actually made it that far. At that point, if he landed outside the ring from a move like that, you could be counting to 1,000,000. You would be getting up until Spring Stampede next year. Waistlock transition counter from Solo, trying to go for that back suplex once again. Hurricane Rana from Solo. And this is where the reach of Papyrus is being used against him. Solo staying as close as he can to the American champion. Playing it perfectly in the pocket here. Solo, tornado DDT. Cover. This could be it. And Solo has successfully avenged his brother in arms. Solo put up one hell of a fight here tonight. He had so much to fight for. He had so much added motivation. Smelling blood in the water of Parliament. This is a night in KPW history that Parliament is not going to want to remember what's left of them at this point. What a seismic shift we have seen in power already here tonight. Bunker Hill deals yet another serious blow to Parliament. This could be it for them. As Solo, as we get another look at this tornado DDT from the second rope here, sending Papyrus all the way down timber, head first into the mat. 400 pounds of pressure landing head first. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. And this has been a serious fall from grace. And it's courtesy of the Scrapyard Saint. They knew KPW American Champion Solo but coming up next here, folks, tag team action. In our third of 4 championship bouts of the evening. Two of KPW's biggest teams in the history of this company meeting in the ring here tonight. The Boise Boyz, David Rush, Hollywood Hannon, look to score a hat trick. They look to become the first ever 3-time KPW Tag Team Champions. The only question left to ask is the BamBus capable of putting down one of the most dominant tag teams in KPW history? There's only one way to find out. Boise Boyz. They've been on one hell of a mean streak since they've came back in December. We saw them earn this championship opportunity by defeating the First Nation Slarty Shuko just 2 weeks ago on Warzone. And this won't be the final encounter between either of these parties. We know that on Monday night, Ricky Rhombus will be taking on Hollywood Hannon in singles action. The only question left to ask is who will be entering that bout as one half of the Twitch champions. The purpose of the BamBus, it feels like brand new men. They feel like a resurrected team rising from the ashes. They hit rock bottom back at Euphoria, and they've steadily climbed back up. They made it one hell of a buzzer beater victory in 2025 to close out the year when they defeated the Scheme for the Tag Team Championships. And for the first time in their careers, Bandardino, Ricky Rhombus, they're in the eye of the storm. All the pressure is building up against them. They have a target on their back at all times. And on such a grand stage, the Boise Boyz are the first team to answer the call.
1, 2.
Hollywood Hannon trying to intervene for his partner. He gets sent careening out of the ring. David Rush dropped toe hold onto Ricky Rhombus. And we've seen what has been going down between the world heavyweight champion and his #1 contender, Cory Sinclair, putting his hands on Dynamite Danny Axel 2 weeks ago in the bar. Danny Axel trying to get some sort of comeuppance here this last Monday night on Warzone. Taking the fight right to Cory Sinclair in the main event, turning back the clock a little bit. And we know how that has personally affected Pando, but what has gone so understated is how much of an impact that man has on the careers of both Ricky Rhombus and Bandardino. And that has got to be something that sits well in the mind of Dynamite Danny Axel, knowing that he has trained 3 men that are all currently champions here in KPW. That could change very quickly here tonight. The Boise Boyz could become the tag team champions, much like Cory Sinclair could become our next world heavyweight champion. Either way, the personal proteges of Dynamite Danny Axel, the BamBus Pando, fighting champions, valiant champions, they will be put to the test here in the Kumite Forum. Hollywood Hannon locking up with Bandardino. A vicious pump handle drop from the 300-pound Hollywood Hannon. And he is just hulking over the blue chipper in size and stature. Ricky Rhombus making the tag, making a quick assist to his partner as he gets through the middle ropes there, returning to his corner of the ring. A double suplex. I don't think Bandardino was able to lift the 300-pounder by himself. And any sort of assist from the tag team partner is going to be necessary. Being able to pace out your movements, pace out when you need to tag in and out. Control is the name of the game here tonight, folks. And we've seen the dire consequences in action. What happens when you lose all control? Tag made to David Rush. Big clothesline from the top rope to the back of the neck of Ricky Rhombus. Tag made to Bam Dardino. The tag team champions, the BamBus, in almost perfectly matching green apparel. The Boise Boyz in their beige denim. David Rush go for a powerbomb, but Bam Dardino counters it into a Hurricane Rana. Tries to hook the leg, but David Rush squeaks the shoulder free. An overhead strike takes down David Rush. Bam Dardino fights his way out of it. Scoop slam follows it up with a flurry of strikes. Wishbone split onto David Rush. We've already seen one championship change hands here tonight. We know for sure that that will not be the Twitch championship, as Rey Ilusion successfully defended the gold against tape earlier on tonight. But what we did see was the crowning of a new KPW American champion, a precedent continuing with the American Championship, as Solo has defeated Papyrus in what would have been his first defense of the American Championship here tonight. And now it'll be the American champion Solo that'll have to rise up to that challenge and seemingly break the curse, break that spell over the American Championship. And who knows when his first offense is going to be. A big clubbing blow to the back of the neck of Ricky Rhombus, courtesy of Hollywood Hannon.
1, 2, 3.
This is just absolute pandemonium here tonight, folks. And we still have plenty more action to go here. We still have that submission match between Steven Gielberg and Pierre to worry about. We still have the World Heavyweight Championship up for grabs in our main event. These could be two of the fiercest battles in KPW's history. But with the endurance of both of these teams, this tag team championship bout, that could very well enter that same conversation. David Rush, big head of steam on that clothesline, sending Ricky Rhombus almost completely inside out. Ricky Rhombus trying to figure out left from right and up from down after that hellacious clothesline. Plunking right into the skull of him, courtesy of the forearms of David Rush. Ricky Rhombus thinking about making a tag, but he's looking to keep the fight up for a little bit longer here. Arm elbow tie up, David Rush trying to sweep the legs of Ricky Rhombus. He's successful the second time around as he reaches over to tag the 6'6", 320-pound Hollywood Hannon. Achilles hold in full effect from the big arms of Hollywood Hannon. And he is just an absolute brute inside that squared circle, folks. We've never seen anything quite like the physical acumen of Hollywood Hannon. Bernardino trying to suplex the big man, and naturally he counters with a suplex of his own. Side suplex from Hollywood Hannon. Is in firm control of the champion here. Bernardino picking out that opening, catching the foot of Hollywood, going for a clothesline to take him completely off balance and off of his feet. And that opens up the chance to tag in Ricky Rhombus. He was moving in like a runaway train. And Hollywood Hannon looks like he's gonna make sure he's never coming back. Snap DDT by the challenger, the former two-time KPW Tag Team Champion Hollywood Hannon. And if the BamBus cannot regain any sort of significant advantage here, the Boise Boyz could very well become the first three-time KPW Tag Team Champions, complete the hat trick here tonight. Irish whip, nobody home to meet David Rush in the middle, as Hollywood Hannon ran one hell of a blitz play to try and distract the champions. The relative inexperience of the BamBus coming back to bite them. In comparison, the Boise Boyz, they have been champions across the pond. They've been champions everywhere they have ever gone to compete in the ring. If any team has a skill set, a strong strategy, whisk back those tag team championships, it's almost certainly David Rush and Hollywood Hannon. Back body drop from Hollywood Hannon. And look at Hollywood doing the vast majority of the work here, withering down the tag team champions piece by piece, taking them apart.
One.
As David Rush moves in to pick up the scraps here, David Rush leaving himself open, however, to another double suplex.
1, 2.
And now it's the Boise Boyz outnumbering Ricky Rhombus. Noggin knocker between Dardino and Hannon, but Dardino's the one knocked off of his feet. Single leg Boston Crab, but Bam hangs in there. If you were to pull Bam Dardino and Ricky Rhombus to the side 1 year ago today and tell them that this is what their futures would look like, I think they would have a very, very hard time believing that it would come to this. That this is the future that was set out for them. But by all means, by every stretch of the imagination, they have achieved the unthinkable. And Hollywood Hannon looking to achieve what many have considered to be the impossible sidewalk slam onto Bam. Snap DDT, and Bam might be lights out here, folks. David Rush, we're gonna move in for the kill here. He wants the personal gratification. He wants to set that record here tonight, folks. Lateral press.
1, 2.
Ricky Rhombus
3.
struggling to get to his partner, stumbling through the ropes in an act of desperation. And the BamBus has been derailed here tonight. They have been swept off the road by the old guard. It's not for nothing. These two young men, they gave one hell of a fight here tonight. They fought with every ounce of heart in their fiber. They fought diligently. They fought with dignity. They fought for the very thing they spent all of last year working to become. And they may have thought they were on the top of the mountain here. They thought they had a Christmas miracle. The only thing that this sets in mind for the BamBus is that they still have much more work to do. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, the BamBus are no longer your tag team champions. The Boise Boyz have achieved the three-peat here tonight. David Rush personally setting the record alongside Hollywood Hannon, the first ever three-time KPW Tag Team Champions. But coming up next, and what is certainly going to be a hard-hitting bout, a submission match, as these two men meet for the third and potentially final time. This town may not be big enough for the both of them. We've seen Pierre systematically take out both members of the scheme just to isolate the director. We will see who will be bent first here tonight, as the director, Steven Gielberg, goes one-on-one against France's greatest export, the star attraction himself, Pierre Cinema. The director, marching with a purpose, marching with intent, very ill intent. He's like a caged animal at this point, folks. What could be racing in the mind of Steven Gielberg as he's in for the fight of his life here? He's only gotten a taste of Pierre Cinema before. He's never been able to get the upper hand on him. And Pierre Cinema, he's been fighting like hell to preserve his career, to preserve his reputation. And Pierre Cinema, he's not wasting any time. Taping up the fists, looking to get his hands right here and now. And Steven Gielberg beats him to the first punch here, taking him down with a quick clothesline. There's no countouts, there's no disqualifications, there's no pinfalls. The only way to win this match is by forcing your opponent to submit. This is gonna get mean, this is gonna get vicious, this is gonna get visceral. This will be brutality at its finest. You could cut the tension in this ring with a knife. Steven Gielberg ramming Pierre Cinema's head into the turnbuckles face first here. And he is unleashing a flurry of strikes into the corner. Steven Gielberg trying to create some space. He knows that once Pierre Cinema has him right where he wants him, that has been the opportunity presented to Pierre both times. That is where he has taken the full advantage. That is where he has picked up the victory before. Steven Gielberg in the black shorts, Pierre Cinema in the white denim. What seems to be a battle, a twisted, distorted battle of good versus evil playing out inside the ring here tonight at Ignition. Another low blow from the director. And Steven Gielberg moves in to try and exploit the weaknesses of Pierre Cinema. Ladies and gentlemen, as I am receiving word here from the board of directors, we will in fact be hearing from Hosway this Monday night on Warzone. And we will see what his future has in store for him. But also still to come this Monday night, the First Nation Sardi Shuko team up against Big Bernard, Headband, Tommy Tanks, collectively known as the Influence, in tag team action. Pierre Cinema busted wide open on that ring post. Getting rammed a bit further ahead than the turnbuckle. This is playing out just like Madhouse. Steven Gielberg was able to get a taste of the blood of Pierre Cinema that night, but he was not able to fully capitalize. Handspring moonsault over the top rope, down to the floor. Pierre Cinema has shifted the tides of this bout at the snap of a finger. But that weight difference, the strength advantage going to Steven Gielberg, as those heavier fists are just enough to take Pierre Cinema off of his feet here. What to follow back on previous announcements here, Ricky Rhombus, as previously stated before, he lost the KPW Tag Team Championship. Pardon me, ladies and gentlemen. Ricky Rhombus will be going one-on-one against one half of the new KPW Tag Team Champions. The three-time KPW Tag Team Champion, one half of the Boise Boyz, Hollywood Hannon, this Monday night on Warzone. Figure 4 leg lock, the first submission hold of this bout. A hold that has earned Steven Gielberg his only championship victory to date here in KPW. The Hardcore Championship back at Summer Spark in 2024. And he was able to make the 525-pound Crisp Billy submit with that move. But speaking of the KPW Twitch champion, as I'm receiving more word, Rey Ilusion will be in action, in fact, on Monday night, folks. He will be going one-on-one against the War General, Sergeant Foxtrot. And Steven Gielberg just suplexed Pierre threw a table on the outside. As we heard on Monday night, we know that the sauce will be in action this Monday night against the winner of that Four Corners contender. We now know who that contender will be. It will in fact be the Street Fighter himself, Popcorn Papi. As he was able to best Oliver English, Hosway, and Nick Flawless to get an opportunity for the World Heavyweight Championship. And that is exactly what Pierre feels like Steven Gielberg is holding him back from the World Heavyweight Championship. In fact, we know he was screwed out of the gold back at Toxicity, courtesy of that man standing across the ring from him on the other side of the ropes. Here, Cinema looking to go for another handspring moonsault, overshooting it just a little bit this time. A perfect opportunity for the director to strike, and boy, is he taking that opportunity to strike. Laying in some serious blows to the back of the head of Pierre. The brutality on display here tonight. There are tables strewn about ringside area here. An attempted choke counter into a half Nelson suplex. We saw that knockout Bloom last Monday night on Warzone. And they're still in rough shape after the serious beatdown that Pierre was able to dish out on them. They're still not medically cleared from that. Steven Gielberg has no way to save his skin. Here's Cinema firing up, looking to go for yet another starstruck DDT. Steven Gielberg gets out of harm's way, tries to retreat towards the back here. Pierre was not having it whatsoever here, folks. A low blow from Steven Gielberg to Pierre Cinema. Swiping him down with that table. This is the third table that Steven Gielberg has introduced to this bout here tonight, folks. We've seen him get very comfortable with using the table as a weapon. We've seen him put Pierre through a table before. We've seen him do that to the World Heavyweight Champion Pando with that vicious power bomb, the blue shell bomb. But Steven Gielberg, he's also been on the receiving end. He has seen these plans of his backfire spectacularly. Who can forget when the sauce rockabite him off the top rope through a table just 1 month ago? Ever so stubborn Steven Gielberg trying to use this man to try and blackmail his way to the top of KPW. And this is the most we've ever seen him fight to achieve his goals here in KPW. Here's Cinema getting dragged out of the ring here. Steven Gielberg fired up here. And what does he have in mind here? He's looking to go for a blue shell bomb. And oh my God! Steven Gielberg had everybody fooled with that one. We thought he was going to go for that blue shell bomb through the table. It's worked for him so many times before. And he has switched it up just once again here. Opted to go for a blue shell bomb on the concrete floor. There is no fear in the hearts of men, but there will not be any quit in the hearts of either of these men. I can't imagine either of these men giving into the will of the other. I can't imagine Steven Gielberg choosing to quit now. He's too far deep in. He's thrown himself into the deep end of the pool. And he knows he has no option but to swim his way out. And Pierre Cinema, after all the hell, the torment that this man has put him through, he's not going to give him the satisfaction. He's not going to give him what he wants. But he's looking to give him what he needs with that Boston Crab. Steven Gielberg hanging on. He's choosing to stay in the fight here. These two, they're fighting their way up the stage here at the Kumite Forum. Steven Gielberg on the back foot here. Heavy on the retreat. Heading right through the curtain. And they're in the halls of the Kumite Forum. Pierre Cinema sending them back through those doors. Not letting Steven Gielberg get too far away from him. And the way that Steven Gielberg was moving, it seemed like he was trying to lure Pierre Cinema into a potential trap. That could have been disastrous for France's greatest export here tonight. These two fighting at the very entrance of this stage here. This is as dirty as it gets here, folks. Sending Pierre through those doors. Crashing into the backstage halls here. Fire extinguisher in hand. Clocking Pierre Cinema with the fire extinguisher. And he just whipped it at the head of this man. That's still a human being, damn it. That's that sick, monstrous, sadistic side coming out of the director here. Irish whip reversal from Pierre, sending Steven Gielberg careening into the concrete walls of the Kumite Forum. And he whips that fire extinguisher once again. I don't even know how Pierre Cinema is still conscious. He's still with us. He's got to be an autopilot at this point. The threshold of pain, the endurance, the agony he must be going through. The passion he has against Steven Gielberg is stronger than any threshold of pain that the director has been able to dish out so far. And it appears that the action's finally returning towards the ringside area. Noggin knocker in the center of the ring. Steven Gielberg goes down, Pierre Cinema goes down, and Pierre's the first one to his feet, but he's clutching that head. His bell has been properly rung here tonight, folks, and he is in a bad way. He is still gushing blood. He is a bloody mess in the center of that ring tonight, folks. He is bruised. He is not yet battered. He is bloodied, but he's not yet beaten. But he's taking one hell of a beating here tonight. But he is here to fight for what he believes is right. And he is looking to put an end to this once and for all. And Steven Gielberg, he is certainly headhunting here tonight. A knee strike from Steven Gielberg. Gielberg running out, grabbing another table. We've seen the damage that he could do with a table, especially with Pierre Cinema. We've seen him powerbomb Pierre Cinema through a table in the boiler room area. Jesus! Steven Gielberg! Trying to part the Red Sea, doing everything in his power. From hell to high water to keep Pierre Cinema down. Even went as far as to use the Starstruck DDT against him. A table set up. Pierre Cinema ramming the head of Steven Gielberg into the ring post. A man that has more of his wits about him, a man that still has all of his reflexes for him. Might have given up the fight by now, but Pierre Cinema, he powers on and he marches on like a warrior. He gets the boot up in the corner. He pushes back Steven Gielberg with a spinning wheel kick, and he runs right into a fallaway slam by the director. Here's Cinema. Now he's going for that patented Indian deathlock. We saw him try to break the knees of Bilko with that hold 2 weeks ago on Warzone. And now Steven Gielberg's certainly feeling it. Who knows if Steven Gielberg would have quit if it wasn't for those knee braces. Handspring moonsault. Pierre Cinema overshooting once again here. All the blood getting into the eyes, messing with his depth perception, messing with his frame of vision. Coming back to haunt him here, and it's only given Steven Gielberg nothing but perfect openings to strike. Both of these men are going to need to make a trip to the trainer's room. Separate ends of the room at this point. Once this submission bout is over, I've never seen anybody get pushed to their limits as far and as wide as these two are willing to do to each other here tonight. And ladies and gentlemen, we still have a main event on our hands. We still have the World Heavyweight Championship up for grabs here. Oh my God. Steven Gielberg, that sick, that twisted son of a bitch, dropping Pierre on the steel steps with a suplex. This is the limits that these two are willing to push each other to. What is the World Heavyweight Champion Pando going to do to stand up for his fallen mentor, Dynamite Danny Axel, in the main event? With that World Heavyweight Championship up for grabs, how far is Cory Sinclair going to be willing to push things here tonight? I believe that is the third table that Pierre Cinema has gone crashing through in this submission match. And Steven Gielberg, he is drawing this out for as long as he can here. He is taking some sick pleasures and beating the brakes, looking to expose the star attraction here tonight. And what a cruel twist of fate this is, because we've seen this with Pierre Cinema, where he was on the other end of this occasion when he first came here to KPW, and he was set out to expose the now first ever KPW Hall of Famer in Jim Ross. History has an odd way of working sometimes, and Pierre Cinema is fighting like hell to make sure history doesn't repeat itself here tonight, with him on the receiving end of it. As Steven Gielberg runs the face of Pierre Cinema on that top rope, and now he's just unleashing a flurry of knee strikes into the head of Pierre. Not to mention the knee braces being fully adorned by the directors. What Pierre Cinema needs to do to mitigate a lot of these strikes from the director, he needs to take those knee braces off forcefully by any means necessary. He needs to minimize the damage that he is being inflicted upon with. Belly to back suplex by Steven Gielberg. And before Pierre Cinema was split wide open, it would have been a safe assumption to say that he would be in control at this point. The more we see Pierre Cinema in action, the longer that he fights, the more it seems to benefit him. But Steven Gielberg, he has been maintaining control, cutting off all the momentum whenever Pierre Cinema seems to pick it right back up and feed off of this absolutely feral crowd here tonight in the Kumite Forum. Our second ever iteration of KPW Ignition. And this has been absolutely explosive. From the beginning of the night, we've seen so much chaos unfold here tonight. We've seen the power dynamic shift so viciously here at Ignition. And who knows how that pendulum is going to swing once the night is all said and done here. Pierre Cinema running into a power slam. And look at Steven Gielberg. He already knows he's going up against a blind man at this point. And he's still trying to gouge the eyes out. And Pierre Cinema, he is struggling to stay on his own 2 feet at this point. This is like a snuff film. And I think this is exactly what Steven Gielberg's going for here, folks. He is looking to snuff out one of the biggest stars in KPW history just to raise his own stock. That's what it's always been about with this man. I don't think he gives a damn that Bloom and Bilko gave their bodies to keep him fresh for this submission bout here tonight. It's always been about Pierre. It's always been about Pierre getting the lead on him. Maybe Gielberg pushing him towards the corner. Hoisting up to the top rope here. What the hell is he? Oh, Jesus! Blue shell bomb from the top rope. And there's nothing left of Pierre. David Gielberg stubbornly letting go of the hold. He thinks he can still get a little bit more juice or squeezing out of this man. Figuratively and literally, here's Cinema. He is not in good shape at all. He is completely out of his depth at this point. At some point, you have to start thinking about the long-term ramifications of this bout. You have to start thinking about your future. You have to start thinking about your own personal health at this point. His emotions are taking over here tonight. And this is feeding exactly right into what Steven Gielberg wants. But Pierre, gotta give him credit on this. He really does not want to give this man any satisfaction whatsoever here. Double arm DDT. And he's still wailing away. The fans in the Kumite form, they are just begging for Pierre to just give up at this point. He needs to think about his future. He needs to consider his life choices. The toll that this business takes on your body, the physical toll. You have a family, Pierre. You have to think about the baby you could hold in your arms. Running shotgun drop kick. Steven Gielberg going right back to that figure four. And Pierre, he is at his wit's end here. He is holding on with every last inch of his fiber, every fiber in his being. Steven Gielberg catching Pierre. A vicious high angle blue shell bomb. And Pierre has been forced to do the unthinkable. What a war between these two men. Steven Gielberg fought like a caged animal here tonight. He was absolutely feral. He was rabid. He was on the loose here. He fought for survival. And once he got that opening, once he was able to bust Pierre Cinema wide open with that shot towards a ring post, the repeated blue shell bombs through tables, on the concrete floor, a starstruck DDT. There was nowhere for Pierre Cinema to go. He couldn't bear the pain any longer. He had finally met his match. The director finally gets what he wants. And he is all alone on that island with nobody else to celebrate the fruits of that labor with him. And coming up next, our main event, KPW World Heavyweight Championship up for grabs as we look at a quick tail of the tape. Pando with the height and weight advantage, 6'8", 295 pounds. Looking to secure some much needed retribution against this man. A man that would have otherwise been seen as an underdog heading into tonight's main event. One of the most dangerous men across all of KPW. The king of Stego style, Cory Sinclair. And Pando, he knows exactly what he's up against at this point here, folks. Last week on Warzone, we saw how quickly Cory Sinclair was able to knock out the World Heavyweight Champion. One well-executed strike is all he needs to take that World Heavyweight Championship away from the Siberian Silver Bear. One of these men will be going to defend that World Heavyweight Championship at Destiny against Popcorn Papi, the winner of the Four Corners contender earlier on tonight. Cory Sinclair immediately trying to go for that rolling wheel kick. We've seen how devastating that was not even a week ago. Who knows what kind of condition the World Heavyweight Champion is in? Who knows if he's dealing with any sort of concussions at this point? What sort of pain he's trying to fight through. And who knows what kind of tools are going to be used at the disposal of both of these men. Gut wrench powerbomb on the floor.
11, 12.
Count of 12, Cory Sinclair leaps back into the ring. We're gonna go for a head scissors takedown. Pando throws him off of him like he was nothing. This is why we highlight that size and strength advantage. Pando has raw power. He is a freak athlete like we have never seen in the history of professional wrestling. And he's going to do everything in his power, everything in his will to put down the king of Stego style here tonight. Hosway may not want a king to serve under, as we saw earlier on tonight. But we still have a king here in our main event, the king of Stego style. He could reach that throne, crown, scepter and all. And become the world heavyweight champion. Cory Sinclair, a former hardcore champion, a former Twitch champion. Pando in his first and only reign as a champion, a world heavyweight champion. As we see Pando in the red, Cory Sinclair in the black with red trim. These two men, they have so much to fight for. They have everything on the line here. Pando trying to get inside the head of the challenger now, trying to brush him off. Who knows how effective that will actually be against Cory Sinclair, considering how far he was willing to push things. Pando left that critical opening for Cory Sinclair to exploit, taking advantage of Pando's mental capacities. He may not be able to get inside the head of Pando, but he certainly struck a nerve when he went after Dynamite Danny Axel in the bar 2 weeks ago at Warzone. And they aimed to finish the job last week, this past Monday night. Running knee strike from Pando. Dragon screw courtesy of the challenger. Rolling wheel kick attempted. Pando stands his ground this time. He wasn't caught off guard like he was on Monday night when he had every card in his favor. He was like a house of cards that night with that kendo stick, and then Cory Sinclair knocked him out with the rolling wheel strike. He sent that house of cards crashing down. And he wants Cory Sinclair's reality to crush him here tonight. Pop-up leg drop from Pando. Following it up with a splash from the second rope. Hook in the leg. Is Cory Sinclair out of the fight? And no, he is not. Big headbutts from Cory Sinclair. That head scissors takedown succeeding the second time around for the challenger. Going right back to it with the headbutts once again. Signaling out the skull of Pando, thinking to himself that Pando can't possibly be at 100%, and he's trying to cut off the circulation, the blood flow to the head of Pando with that triangle hold. Dragon screw from Cory Sinclair, an excellent counter from the challenger. Full Nelson camel clutch hybrid from Pando. And Cory Sinclair, he wasn't even able to reach the ropes. That was the torque that he was able to, that Pando was able to execute on this man.
One.
Dangling his only chance of relief in front of him. The only way that Cory was able to give up was a verbal submission at that point.
7, 8,
Pando thinking a powerbomb on the floor.
10,
Cory
11,
just slammed him on the outside, lifting him over his head, over the shoulders.
14,
And Pando came crashing down.
16,
Down to 16, Pando gets back into the ring. Cory Sinclair mistakenly turning his back to the world champion. Pando flying over that top rope like a cruise missile, trying to get to Cory Sinclair. Running drop kick takes him down once again. Dragging him towards the center of the ring. Doesn't want to run the risk of any rope break. Pando looking to go up top here. We're going to put an end to this. Taking a diving headbutt, but Cory Sinclair moves out of the way. Rolling wheel kick. Pando's still on his 2 feet, still on a vertical base. Who knows what sort of blunt force trauma Cory Sinclair can inflict with it, with the strength of his legs.
3, 4,
Who knows what sort of blunt force trauma Pierre Cinema is undergoing
7,
right now.
8,
After that
9,
hellacious, that
11,
borderline illegal submission bout.
14, 15,
Bear hug on the outside, courtesy of Pando, trying to
17,
sap the life out of the King of Stego style in our main event of the evening. Pando, gut wrench power bomb, hook in the leg. This has got to be it. It is over for Cory Sinclair. No, I stand corrected. Cory Sinclair is still in this fight. Another rolling wheel kick. Pando defiant as ever. Cory Sinclair trying to go for a short arm clothesline. Pando countered with one of his own. And another close call for the challenger. What is it going to take for either of these men, these elite level combatants, to give up their fight here tonight? Pando trying to go for a haymaker to the gut of Cory Sinclair. Cory was able to sideswipe it. A little bit of high-low action for the world heavyweight champion, 300 pounds and all. Deadlift German suplex towards the center of the ring. Pando following it up with a famouser. Pando getting a bit overzealous, trying to complete a hat trick here tonight, much like the Boise Boyz when they defeated the BamBus earlier on tonight to become their first ever 3-time KPW Tag Team Champions. He was not successful in that diving headbutt attempt. He is 0 for 2 when it comes to those headbutts. Cory Sinclair's biggest strides in this bout have come from his striking abilities. Pando pumping the brakes. Cory Sinclair was expecting him, but Pando has the reflexes of a cat.
1,
He's like a leopard in that ring,
3,
collecting his spots, looking to rip the face off of Cory Sinclair in the main event of Ignition.
7, 8, 9,
Out of 9.
10,
Head full of steam. Pando trying to go for a running clothesline on the outside. Runs right into a Fujiwara armbar.
15,
Submissions don't count on the outside.
17,
Pando, count of 18. Cory Sinclair needed that moment to try and get Pando back into the ring. Pando electing to break the count here. He wants to make things a little bit more personal.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
Cory Sinclair getting back into position, much like we saw 5 nights ago on Warzone.
13, 14,
Ramming the face of Cory Sinclair into the guardrail. Pando, is he trying to go for an oil spill? It seemed like he was trying to go for an oil spill. Cory Sinclair wiggled his way out of danger. but not for long. Really eating that big boot courtesy of the world champion. Another famouser. Another pinfall attempt by the champion, and another kick out from Cory Sinclair. This main event bout continues. Cory Sinclair keeps the fight alive, holding Pando in place with those chops, pulling him back to his feet every time, running him right into yet another knife-edge chop. You can see the welts beginning to form on the chest of the champion. These two men, they were absolutely ready to rumble here tonight. And Pando switching up his strategy, getting a little bit out of his comfort zone, starting to target the legs of the king of Stego style, Cory Sinclair. Take out those legs of his. That neutralizes two of his strongest moves, if not three. It takes out that meteor strike, that patented scissors kick of Cory Sinclair. It takes out the rolling wheel kick. And if he doesn't have two good legs to stand on, he won't be able to secure that oil spill on the near 300-pound world heavyweight champion. Pando on the top rope. Head to heart. Diving headbutt. Pando trying to slow down the pulse of Cory Sinclair however he can. And a drop kick like that, that's another great way to stop a man's heart. Pando mustering up whatever adrenaline he still has left in the tank. And he's making this very personal. Dedicating this to Dynamite Danny Axel, his mentor, the man that trained him, the man that brought him into this business to begin with. Another diving headbutt. Cover. And Cory Sinclair, love him or hate him, he is one tough son of a bitch. He is still in this fight. Cory Sinclair, he has sacrificed so much to get to this point in his career. He has sacrificed so much of his mind, his body, and his soul to be a world heavyweight champion. And I think it would literally kill this man to not be the world champion and not walk out with that precious gold around the waist of him. Cory Sinclair, the breath has been taken right out of him. He's favoring that back. Pando looking to follow it up here. Right into the arms of the champion, waiting in the wings with a bear claw. That's gotta be it.
1, 2, 3.
And Pando has done right by his old mentor here tonight. Cory Sinclair tried to play mind games with the world heavyweight champion. He did everything in his power and his will to get inside the mind of Pando, taking it to such a personal level, going after Dynamite Danny Axel, forcing him back into the ring. leaving Pando a bloody mess on Warzone just 5 nights ago. But Pando has evened the score, and he's even gone as far as to get a leg up on him, because Pando is now walking away. Your remaining defending KPW World Heavyweight Champion. That is all the time we have here tonight, folks. I've been Tapey Styles, the only man that can call the action right down the middle, and we'll be seeing you this Monday night for another exciting edition of KPW Warzone.